Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks. Somebody sent me this picture and they're going to engrave it on leather and they'd really like to have the font, but they can't find the font or match the font. And there's really no way to match a font of this picture uh, for more than one reason besides the biggest one being a text to curve. So what I suggest doing is moving this, and I got pretty close, but it was a lot of, well, wasn't a lot of work, but it was more work than I would want to put in it. So there are people that could digitize this for sure. And for the one I'm doing it for, let me know, depending on how many they want, whether it's worth it. Costs about 20 bucks. Anyway, type out the font, move it over kind of this side of the page, and then grab that font and just start up at the top of your fonts and then just start cursoring down. Don't ever click on this, just cursor down and get a font that looks pretty close to that. And you might even have the font, but you can't text to path it and really find out by doing this, but I don't have anything really close. So what I did, I picked, I can't remember which one I picked now. Let me just get one close. And you can alter the font. It's just 5 letters or two numbers and 5 letters. And you know what? That's pretty close right there in a way. Let's just try that. We can fix that G. We can fix that A. Matter of fact, that's pretty good. So what you want to do now is go ahead and text it to path. And depending on how big you want it, I kind of did it off this picture just so we can tell. So I made a circle. I control D and I bring that circle in. Matter of fact, now I'm going to be in the center. The picture is not in the center. I'm going to take the original line, holding down the shift key, and kind of get our text to path. Now I'm going to nudge that over. Now I'm going to take my font and I'm going to go, you can't alter it now. You have to alter it later. I'm going to go to text to path, and I'm going to put it kind of in that path. Now you can see the 12 is real far away, but we can fix that in this particular font. We could do a lot. Now the 2 is really pretty close, but if you look, so if you do one letter, and I'm no expert at this, I just play. But if you look, the 2 just has kind of like a flat part, and the back part is a little bit more of an angle. So let's take this text now and go up to object and let's convert it to a curve, and then go up to object and break the curve apart. And then you could left click, right click on it. And then of course you want to bring in your 2 so you could kind of see. The 1's pretty good. So I'm just going to do a couple of the letters. So the 1 has you know what, I wonder if there's any way we could put it on top of it. Yeah, that'd probably be more trouble than it's worth. So let's just work on the 1. Now, you could trace this very easily, and we might try that in a second, but I'm going to show you how you manipulate the font a little bit. It's not a font anymore. So this is like a little slender line, and so this font isn't the best one to pick because it's got rounded corners. Now I'm going to get rid of those lines for a second. And I'm going to take that 1 and I am going to zoom in, and I'm going to take my pick tool. Like I said, I really need to pick another font. That one's not really going to work. So let's back up here. I'm just hitting the backup key. I didn't realize it had so many curves in it. And I don't know which one I had earlier. But see, you want one reason I decided to make a video, you need to get this where it's out of this area. So that way you can see it change up there. So let's just go with that. Now, that's not the one I picked because I was able to bold it. And you want, so don't ever click on that blue line. You can start moving it down. If you click on it, you get that font. And, you know, the person I'm doing it for might have the font. Fonts aren't in Corel, they're in Windows. Yeah, it upsets me a little bit. I don't remember what font I picked. You know what? Let's go to gears. Let's go up here to the gear. I don't know why it's not showing me my last fonts. Well, let's call this good. Let's call that good. It's not a boldable font, but we can make it a little bolder. But I don't really think it, well, it doesn't. So how are we going to bold a font? I'm going to go ahead and go to, well, let's text the curve at first. Text the path. Let's go to text the path, and put it like right there in the middle. Now I am going to go up to object and convert it to a curve. Now I'm going to left click, right click, and I'm going to try to make it a little bit, you know, that it doesn't take much. I'm going to take it all and I'm going to go up to effects and contour, and I'm going to contour to the outside like 0.02. I'm just guessing, too much. Let's go with 0.005. Cut that in half. That's a little better. I'm going to go up to object and break the contour apart. If I hit on the end, let me move the circle out of the way. If I hit on the inside, it should, yep, there's the thicker one. Now it's still a curve. Now let's take this. I'm just going to do a couple letters. Let me bring this in a little closer so we can see that 1 and that 2. That's really pretty close, except we don't have this chamfer. So let's take that, let's get the shape tool, and let's get rid of that chamfer. And let's take these two lines and right click and turn it into a line. See, we got that. Now let's take away that one. That's a lot closer already. Like I said, it's a lot of work. It's not, and also my 1 is a little bit thinner, or this is sticking out a little bit more. But because we already text the path it, so I could take these nodes, well, I don't want to do that. I want to take these nodes and maybe stretch this out a little bit. And then like the 2 is more rounded at the top. It has a very little space up there. Let's move these in. Let me look at it. This would be a good case for, let's move this thing kind of closer. It's quite a bit different in size, but while this is here, I can go to the transparency tool and make my drawing a little transparent. And now let's try to see if we can't make this smaller, holding down the shift key. Well, it's actually a different little bit of path, but that way you can have it right on kind of top. You know what? Since it's broken apart, let's go object, break the curve apart. We could put these numbers right on top. I'm not really suggesting doing this, but I don't know of another way. Take this A out of the way. Now in this, we're going to probably have to rotate it here in just a second. So we're just going to rotate it kind of in the fashion of the real font. But see, that way you can kind of, that works pretty well. And we're still in, we can click on that. I would get rid of all these nodes, and then I could take this one and move it over, and then move this over, move that like that. Bring this, maybe delete those two, well, not delete them all. Delete at least 2 of those nodes. Whoop. Like I said, this might not be worth it. And then bring these nodes in. Of course, we could smooth it out here in a minute. And see, the 2 doesn't have that little tail on it. And this is probably the easiest part. Just take all these and delete them. Then take these 2 nodes and right click, turn them into a line, and then unclick them, click back up and move that one there. Delete these 2, take these 2, convert them to a line. You know, and you're getting pretty close. Now we need to, work on this, but we could let's take the smoothing tool, set on like 0.2. That's still too big. 0.05. That's good. Let's smooth this out a little bit. Got to click on that line. Now we're going to try to take the shape tool and move these 2, or at least move this node in, and maybe move these nodes in. The smoothing tool will surprisingly smooth that out quite a bit. But if I was going to do, if they're doing 200 of these, I'd pay the $20 to get it digitized. And if you want to know, I've got somebody, I don't really know him, never met him, but he does excellent work out of New York City. You see, that's not, we'll look at it here in just a second. But like I said, it's a lot of work. And I don't like doing work like this. I like showing out maybe how to do it, but I don't like doing it itself. And going off the picture is just real hard because, we got some black background. Let's take away that node. Bring that node in a little bit. Kick this. It's almost hard to see the arrow. There it is. Anyway, now let's move our picture out of the way. And of course, I moved the G and the A. But there's a lot that can be done with this. If you looked at it, the G's are kind of square boxes where we have a little bit of a, well, that's pretty good, but you could make those square boxes by I'd delete all the nodes on the inside. I'd delete all these nodes on the inside. And then you could take these 2 nodes. Whoop, I got 3. So whenever you can't grab it, use the shift key to bring it up. And right shift select both, turn it into a line. And then you could grab these, shift select again, and then you could bring that line up and making that box a little bit thicker. Whenever you can't grab it, shift select, right click, turn it into a line. We already had them picked. I should have just gone from there. Then just, anyway, that looks pretty much like the G. And then, I wish I could finish it. And all I did, let's just take this away. So once you got one of them, I mean, thankfully it is least equal. Group all this together with Control G, Control D, and duplicate it. Double click on the rotation, put it in the center, and rotate it 180 degrees. And you've got your item. Now this star, just in case he does do this, is kind of you know what, it's really not. I thought it was flat, but it's kind of the embossing. So it's just a normal star. And of course, you'd have to let your customer look at it and see what they think and, everything. And so I'm going to turn that black by right clicking and left clicking, take away the outline. And all we have to do for this star is Control D to duplicate it, double click on the rotation and move it to the center, and then rotate that 180 degrees. Other than finding the font, that might be pretty good. See, I altered this one quite a bit. I changed the G. This font's actually a little bit better than the G. Now, here's another thing. After you've worked on this G, well, I didn't really work on it. You could delete this G and Control D to duplicate it, double click on the rotation and put it in the center, and then rotate it to that G. Then you wouldn't have to work on that G but one time. And my two's pretty messed up, but you could most definitely take it down and use the smoothing tool. You've got to click on it till you see the nodes. Anyway, that's all the help I could offer. But it looks pretty close. I mean, these are one of the type of deal. If the customer's not going to be able to give you the font because they probably didn't draw this, but you could, have them look at this and say, is this good enough? Now, I'm going to do one more thing on this G. This G has kind of like square, and I've kind of got a taper to it. So take it, we've got to go to object and ungroup it. And it's always easy to, or at least easier for me to do it in a wireframe. Let's look at that G one more time. And really, if you did it more the appropriate size of the G, all it is just that's bumped up a little bit, just like we did on the A or the other letter. So grab that node, shift select that node, and then just bring that up. And it's going to look more like that G. Anyway, I hope that helped him a little bit. Thank you for watching.